I think you all know who I am. Good morning. I've asked you here to set the record straight, and I hope that you will do that. For 7 years, Idaho Freedom Foundation has been the voice of Idaho taxpayers and conservative principles. Our policy research team works to educate lawmakers on free market ideas and Idaho solutions. Our journalism seeks to hold politicians and government programs accountable. Our Freedom Index is the gold standard by which legislative action and legislators are measured. We're proud of the fact that we are easily considered Idaho's most influential public policy organization. Our role in the public sphere is very important. Our credibility, our good name matters, and we will do what we need to do in order to protect our name and our reputation. Recently, a certain legislator has slandered my organization and my team's honest work, and I will not stand for it. I will not allow any elected official to harass and spread lies about Idaho Freedom Foundation, the people who work for it, and the conservative values IFF represents. Here's the truth. First, Idaho Freedom Foundation is one of many nonprofit organizations that lawfully lobby the legislature. We are, however, the only one that gets scrutinized and criticized each and every year for doing so. We get attacked, we're accused of breaking the law, but just us, just Idaho Freedom Foundation, the same charge is never levied against Planned Parenthood, Catholic Charities of Idaho, the ACLU, the Center for Fiscal Policy. We get the charges, no one else. Second, no one is demanding any of those organizations release their donor lists, as has been demanded of us. I will not bend on this issue. Every American has the right to support and donate money to the causes they believe in, whatever that cause is. The right requires the protection of individual privacy. Certain legislators and members of the media can keep slamming us for protecting donor privacy. We will not yield in this regard. What our critics are really after is to use the force of government to harass our donors, end their private giving, silence their voices. That's wrong, and I don't care whether people go after us or the ACLU, we will not change our position in this regard. Third, the Idaho Freedom Foundation, yes, does have a very powerful tool called the Idaho Freedom Index. We created the Freedom Index to provide a different perspective, a conservative, free market perspective when it comes to the legislation being considered. We use it to educate lawmakers and the public. And it's also used so the public can hold their lawmakers accountable and so that lawmakers can hold themselves accountable for the growth in government regulations, taxes, and adherence to conservative principles. Furthermore, we are not the only organization to review and rank legislation. Yet we're the only ones who are criticized for our scorecard year in and year out. The truth is, some lawmakers hate our scorecard because it debunks their own narrative of how conservative they are. They campaign as conservatives, and they don't want their constituents to know the truth that their records betray them as liberals. You cannot vote to raise taxes, add government regulation upon government regulation, and create new government programs and still be considered a conservative, period. And the Idaho Freedom Index makes that very clear. If that happens to make certain people uncomfortable or angry, that's just too bad. On the other hand, there are many legislators who support our values, our principles, and that is reflected in their Freedom Index scores. Those legislators who prize conservative principles, who vote as conservative, who campaign as conservatives, deserve praise and respect for having high Freedom Index scores. The Idaho Freedom Foundation performs a valuable service in this state and for this legislature, and most importantly, for the residents of Idaho who do not have a voice in this building. We've held government accountable, we've increased transparency, we've stopped wasteful spending, we've proposed and supported conservative policy solutions that are now a matter of law. I started out this year by saying we will hold ourselves to the highest standard when it comes to civil discourse, and I pledge to continue doing that. We will never make it personal, even as other people do. But I will not allow elected officials to spread lies about us and for those lies to go unchallenged. We have a right and we have a duty to defend this organization, and a right and a duty to defend conservative principles. And I hope you'll hear me now loud and clear. We intend to do exactly that. Thank you for your time. Happy to answer questions if you have some. Yes.
So you mentioned that your organization has faced criticism for a while. Why this particular lawmaker, Representative Packer, what did she say that you felt that you have to, have a press conference?
Well, I didn't mention her name, you did. But whenever somebody makes accusations that we're bullying people or harassing people or intimidating people to change their votes, none of that is true. And when you say that we're engaging in an activity where we're lying in order and distorting the record, that's not true either. None of that is true. There's not been a single time when I twisted a legislator's arm and told them I need you to vote for or against this bill. Never. We present information. We present information as we see it, and then we let the chips fall where they may. But, I think it's wrong for people in elected position to uncategorically lie about what we're doing in order to defend their dishonest voting records.
What in particular was a lie that you're calling out?
The fact that the claim was that we were bullying legislators and that we're harassing them into voting a certain way. None of that is true.
Whose claim?
You heard the lady in the
I'm
back.
asking you, not the lady behind me.
All right. Representative Packer in particular.
Just one, or there's several that have accused you of all this?
This is the most recent instance, and we've decided we've had enough.
Why is,
And actually, the most recent and the most public, I should say, as well.
why is the question of whether, who's telling lies and who's the true conservative an appropriate topic for a State House press conference and a committee hearing?
I don't follow your question.
So why this venue to make the kinds of statements that you're making, sir?
Because everyone's here. I mean, I guess I could have done it in McCammon. I just thought it was a little more convenient for you to actually do it in the State House than driving all the way across the state to do it there.
And so are you taking a stand against Representative Packer in her re-election bid?
Nope. I'm taking a stand against a person who has lied about us, what my organization does, and what it believes. I'm taking a stand against legislators who choose to bully and harass my organization and my employees.
Wayne, the organization's kind of promoted this in tweets and such, and I see that you've
Promoted
also
what?
promoted this story that I wrote in the Statesman and that Packer's comments in this were. And you've also put out something saying we're under attack. And you're using it as a fundraising opportunity. Is that right? Is this helping you in terms of? I mean, you must have gotten some positive reaction, right?
That's not what this press conference is about.
Well, can you answer the question? No.
What? What's your question?
Well, I mean, are you using this incident as an opportunity to raise money for the organization?
I'm using it as an opportunity to defend my organization. That's it. I'd much rather be doing other things.
Uh-huh.
I have plenty of things we need to do. There are plenty of public policies where we are being asked to research issues, help promote conservative values, stop the wasteful spending. This is a distraction from what we really need to be doing. I'd much rather be doing other things. Yes, sir.
Will you take a question on a separate topic?
Um,
Maybe after.
After, I'd be happy to, yes. Any other questions on this topic?
Have you reached out to the lawmaker, Representative Packer at all? Have you tried talking to her rather than?
You know, I've had exactly 2 conversations with Representative Packer this session. The first was actually in this room after a committee meeting where I went up to her and I said, "Welcome back to the legislature." That was in early January. The other was in a meeting on innovative ways of dealing with the so-called gap population. And it was a very cordial conversation. That was the last conversation. So why don't you ask Representative Packer why she didn't reach out to me if she felt like she was so bullied? Other questions? Yes, sir.
You say she's been bullying your staff in what way?
I think whenever you distort the truth, that's bullying. When you lie about a person's professional conduct, that's bullying. We would never do that to her. I would never do that to anybody. I think as an elected representative, you have a responsibility to be honest with your constituents about what's happening in this building. And that wasn't honest, that was bearing false witness.
One other question.
Yeah.
On the index itself, her ranking is pretty high. I think it's in the top third. I don't know if it's been updated since. So in terms of the conservative case, I mean, is she a conservative? Does she reflect the values of your organization?
I honestly haven't looked at her ranking, so I don't really know. I will tell you that in previous legislative sessions, she's always found herself on the below the high water mark, if you will, after the session's concluded. What happens during the session is as you probably know, it's a running total. The total updates every morning at I think 2 a.m. And so that number will go up and down. I know there are a lot of legislators who are above the high water mark, if you will, because there's not been as much legislation voted on for the time being. That'll change. All I can tell you is that in previous legislative sessions, Representative Packer has always found herself not exactly been having reflecting a conservative voting record. And I can just tell you, I mean, let's just talk about what that includes, because I mean, we keep throwing these words around. Representative Packer voted to raise taxes last year. Representative Packer sponsored a bill to license sign language interpreters. She voted for a bill to regulate bake sales, and on and on and on. Her voting record is not a mystery. Go look at it for yourself and compare it to people like Steve Harris and Ron Nate and Heather Scott and some of these other folks who actually are warriors for free markets and conservative values.